Shellharbour City Council acknowledges that Indigenous Australians were the first people of the Australian continent. The Shellharbour City area is now occupied by people drawn from many different lands who share the values of tolerance and respect for one another. We celebrate the survival of Aboriginal people and their culture and support their right to determine their own individual future. We recognise the right of Aboriginal people to live according to their own values and culture. We accept our responsibility to develop an awareness and appreciation of Aboriginal history and society in our community, to protect Aboriginal heritage in our city. In doing so, we acknowledge that Aboriginal culture continues to strengthen and enrich our community. We encourage Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people to work to overcome their differences and continue to go forward together. 1997. Shellharbour City Council's Statement of Commitment to Aboriginal Australians is announced. Council resolves to support the recommendations of the General Manager and the HR Department to employ a trainee Aboriginal liaison officer.
I think the four parts were have an Aboriginal liaison officer who would be a council employee. The second one was to have our apology and commitment to the Aboriginal community. The third one was to have a public celebration, as we do each year with NAIDOC Week, and the fourth one was to have an Aboriginal advisory committee. We take our Aboriginal community and our acknowledgement of Aboriginal culture and history very seriously, and it becomes one of the core values of our organisation at the council. And so that's why it's important that the Aboriginal interests within our council area and our projects are considered. Our NAIDOC Week celebrations were a way of not only honouring our Aboriginal community and our Aboriginal history, but also taking a leadership stance in our community and making sure that the non-Aboriginal members of our community saw the lead that we were taking, and we were fostering a better racial harmony and tolerance within our community. And so we had the schools involved, we had the Aboriginal community involved. The joy that the Aboriginal elders got from seeing this celebration and seeing that there was a really nice, serious ceremony being undertaken across the generations. There were primary school children there enjoying it as much as grandparents.
1998. The Aboriginal Advisory inaugural meeting included Auntie Mary Davis, Uncle Reuben Brown, Uncle Vic Chapman, Richard Davis, Jodie Edwards, Warren Ingram, Julianne Mooseman, Tracy Henry, Jacob Brown, Linda Marshman.
So I've been a member of the Aboriginal Advisory Committee since 1998. I was invited to become a member then. When I was invited to become a member, I thought, well, yeah, okay, I live in this community, so it's a community that I want to make sure that it's going to look after me and my family needs. So I thought, yeah, okay, so this is a great opportunity for me to have a bit of influence within the local government area to look at what Aboriginal people's needs are. So I started in 1998. At that point in time, there was a mayor, Seth Glenholmes. He was a very straight shooter, and to be part of that Aboriginal Advisory Committee was quite a achievement at that time. He was very strict with the rules and the regulations on how meetings went, so it was quite funny. It was like being back in a classroom, and because if you wanted to talk, you actually had to put your hand up and say through the chair. When we were growing up, reconciliation was nothing around Aboriginal people. We were just the Aboriginal people. There was nothing there for us. We got nothing. We were just treated very unfairly. I have a couple of brothers who experience racism within their own lives. One, an elder brother and cousins, male cousins who played football, were very good at it. Won a grand final one year, went to the RSL club for their presentation night to get their wonderful blazers, and they weren't even allowed to get into the club. And so for me, reconciliation has been about educating non-Aboriginal people how to associate with us, or how to appreciate that we're this wonderful race of people, and with humour, and and we're not what most people think that we are. So there's a lot of stereotyping, and it's through reconciliation and our walks and our celebrations that we can actually teach non-Aboriginal people who we are and how we react. So that's why reconciliation is very important to me. Yeah, I guess my hope for the future is to see a lot more black faces within council. It'd be lovely to come into reception and be met by an Aboriginal woman or man at reception. I'd love that.
1999. Shellharbour City Council resolves to fly the Aboriginal flag during NAIDOC Week, and Aboriginal Community Liaison Officer Iriaka Ross is hired for a full-time position.
It was hard, I must say, and I'll admit that it was hard. But when you have elders that are guiding you, gives you the strength to know that you're able to explain why we're coming to meet, to bringing these families together and in one place, and being able to make decisions in the one room was just amazing to see that our people were reconciled. And I think for us to move forward, we need to reconcile within ourselves before we can actually move forward. If we make decisions at one level, I think our voice is being heard, and we have been right from the start. And I also think that Shellharbour Council has moved forward and not backwards in their decision-making process when it comes to consulting with the Aboriginal community. This council is by far probably, from my perspective, one of the very first council that has to be able to fly the flag, be the first local government council in New South Wales to fly the flag every day all year round, was one of their first steps moving forward. The strengthening of our voices and the people that represent the Aboriginal Advisory Committee, each and every individual, they're strong and they're knowledgeable in their own right, and our local community members being on the committee, they're adding wisdom to building that bridge between the community and council.
I'm part of the Aboriginal Advisory Committee at Shellharbour Council, and I've been part of that since inception 15 years ago, and I'd just like to go back a bit from Colin, Mr. Moore. I think these two blokes here have been very supportive in the issues of Aboriginal issues over the 50 years since I've been a young boy, and these two blokes here have been very supportive, and without that support from Colin and Mr. Moore, with the Miners Federation and Cole when he was in the Parliament there, it's been great. So and they've just been champions of Aboriginal issues, and I'd just like to thank them for the work that they continue to do, and the support that they continue to give the Aboriginal community. So I'd like to thank them personally for the work that they've done.
An advisory committee run by the Aboriginal people and their voices is vitally important, and that was a long time dream coming, and now I think it's 15 years. It's a wonderful attainment, and the people that have kept it going, they need complimenting because they've carried it out in a proper manner and built unity and built strength of the Aboriginal people in the area. And out of little things, big things grow, and that is what happened there. And all of a sudden it's 15 years. They're long gone, a lot of them, but It was a wonderful attainment, and we must improve on it as people, and the Aboriginal people take their rightful place and advise what they want, and don't have to have white people speaking up for them. They can speak up for themselves, and I compliment them. Talking about your mum being a fighter, she was the shyest little woman on that thing. She used to pull the curtain back and wouldn't come out. And then after she was with us and Dolly and all them for a couple of years, she was a voice. She was a born leader, that woman. And,
She'd say, Mr Markham, when you're in Parliament, this is what I want you to do. He wasn't a shrinking violet.
No, and I remember she said to me, she said, "Look, Mac, I've got a meeting with Glenn Sessome next week. I want you to come with me." And this was the first meeting that Mum organised. It was me, her, and Glenn Sessome about organising the Aboriginal Advisory Committee. We've got a long way to go, but if we can still keep persevering, have that voice, keep working towards what we believe in, making sure our kids get educated, all that stuff, then I think we can achieve.
2001. Council resolves to fly the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags on a regular basis.
Well, why would you trust this government, which is basically what a council is, who've never really done the right thing by this community, generally speaking. They'd never set out not to, and all of a sudden we're saying, come in, you're welcome, and we want to work with you. So lots of relationship building before that trust was in place. It took us, I may have even been close to 2 years to actually really agree on the frames of reference for the actual group. So, that's a long time for people to hang in there. And tribute to those community members, and I know some of them are still involved, who had the tenacity to hang in there that long when really, we hadn't got that far. Little things like getting some Indigenous language street names and an approved list. So in the Shellharbour city centre, where the cinemas are and all those new bits, if you look at the street names there, they all came from that Aboriginal advisory group. Auntie Mary would have to be just someone that I'm still in awe of. She was an absolute powerhouse of a woman, and you couldn't spend any time with Auntie Mary without just knowing that you were going to be sat on your tail if you stepped out of line. She was just fabulous. She was committed, she had the respect of her community, and she played a really critical role for us in that if we were having particular issues, she was someone that I could go and talk to, and she'd fix it. I think one of the biggest compliments of my career was I was sat out under a tree with Auntie Mary having a bit of a yarn out the back of the Albion Park Hack Centre, and she said to me, "Are you sure you're not Koori?" And I thought, oh my, I was like, I almost cried.
2002. Koori bus driver, training, employment and transport project wins a prestigious award at the National Awards for Local Government, Strengthening Indigenous Communities category.
I think the originator of the idea was Deb Holloway. She spoke about it, then somebody else spoke about it, and then there was a collective speaking about it. Then all of a sudden we had organised the Koori transport, which was run off of the community transport, because a lot of the little old Koori ladies don't associate a lot with everybody else. So this was like, we'll get you out on the bus with the transport system. There was Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people all involved in all of this. It was wonderful. I still sit back now and think about it when it first started up, and what good times we used to have, going for trips and But the main thing was the shopping, and that was a great idea. Pick the bus up at 8:30 in the morning and deliver it back 2:30 with a silly grin on your face, thinking you've helped somebody out. Yes, wonderful times.
2003. Council resolved to officially acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians as part of every council meeting. Debbie Holloway is hired as the second Aboriginal Community Liaison Officer. The Advisory Committee is instrumental in getting projects off the ground. Koori Drivers Mentoring Program, Koori Youth Basketball Program,